Hi, Diamond Girls. You're listening to episode number 32 of This Podcast is for Powerful Dynamite Women. I'm your host, Adrienne Everheart. I teach you how to find the man you want to spend the rest of your life with, end dating and become a married woman, or how to keep your marriage happy and secure. And I do this by teaching you tools to strengthen your natural feminine energy. Now, in this episode, I take a couple of listeners' call-in questions. I don't know if you know this, but I have a feature on the Anchor.fm app or Anchor.fm on your computer. If you go to my podcast, This Podcast is for Powerful Dynamite Women, you'll have an option to leave me a message, and you might be featured in an upcoming podcast. Now, this episode, I'm going to talk about breakups and social media. This is something I really covered in the ABCs to Get Him Back program. I want to talk a little bit about the ABCs to Get Him Back and let you know what my ambition was, what was my dream with creating this program. But there's a couple of really important things I want you to understand about the ABCs. It stands for the absolute best chances. And that is what I give you whether you are married and your marriage is on the rocks, you're having trouble, or if a boyfriend or fiance has walked out on you. I give you techniques and tips that give you the absolute best chances. I am astounded by how successful this program is and how many people I have reconnected into happy, loving, long-lasting relationships. On Instagram, I have some great testimonials if you need a little boost and a little inspiration. However, there are also people that it has not worked out with. And here's the takeaway. The ABCs is mostly about rebuilding you. The part where I give you the techniques and the actual steps for what you need to do and say and how, the protocols I give you to follow, they help you not recreate your same relationship again. But I also have a lot of tools that help you get over heartbreak and healing and things like this because it's so difficult handling all the things that happen to you during a breakup or separation, which is why this podcast episode is about dealing with social media, this thing called no contact, liking people's posts, not liking, following, unfollowing, unfriending, blocking. You have so many options. However, social media is a great way to reconnect with someone. And I'm going to share exactly how in this episode, as well as a couple of listeners' questions. The first one we're going to listen to right now.
Hi, Adrienne. My boyfriend broke up with me about 2 months ago, and I thought I needed to go no contact, so I blocked him on Facebook and Instagram. But I've been listening to your content, and it seems like you advocate more for giving them space, but not no contact necessarily. So I'm wondering what you think I should do. Should I unblock him on Facebook and Instagram? And well, he's already unblocked on Facebook. We actually we have messaged a bit because we saw each other at a dance event a couple weeks ago. But I don't know if I mentioned this, but we're long distance, so we don't have chances to really see each other except for online and like every couple of months, maybe at a dance event. We're both swing dancers. So yeah, I was just wondering what you think I should do, if I should add him as a friend again on Facebook. Like, I guess that would be kind of reaching out. Should I reach out in that way? Follow him again?
I really love this question because in a way, she's already answered the question. She's unblocked him on IG, so this guy is already messaging her because he saw her in an event. And this is how it unfolds. So I'm going to give you the quick and fast answer on this. And that is, you don't need to friend him on Facebook if he's already unblocked on IG. That's one way for him to communicate with you. And you don't need to open up all the channels. So whichever app he's on, he can decide to, speak with you or not. But it sounds like he broke things off with you and you want to rebuild that connection with him. And you're hoping that social media will give you that option to do that. And it absolutely does. So when that guy is out there, even if he broke up with you, I can promise you something. He's checking up on you. I can absolutely promise you that. And some girls will even say, well, my guy didn't have social media. He will find a way. He will get a friend and look at their phone and search you. He will find a way, especially if you're not reaching out to him. So don't worry about that. It's happening. They're looking at your content. So be very conscious about what you have as public, what you have as private. I personally think one of the scariest things you can do to a man after a breakup is hide everything. Don't unfriend him. Don't block him. I'm going to tell you more about that, but hide everything. Hide all the pictures of you two, except maybe one. Get really quiet about things. It scares the crap out of a guy because men on some level believe that they're still going to have some form of contact with you, even though they've just walked away. And I know that sounds so crazy, but they still will miss you. They'll want to have some sort of companionship with you. And even if they don't, there's still something tricky or complicated to what's going on inside of them during that time. Now, I'd share more about this in the ABCs to get him back, including a study that was done where most men after breakup regretted it within 24 hours later. But at that point, they can't go back to you and say, hey, I really regret this. I want to get back together with you. Men will not do that. Women will do that. But again, masculine and feminine energy is very fluid. Masculine energy is very one and done and determined. So when the two of you get back together, it's like an accident. It's like, wow, we're just both in the same place. Or, okay, I had to message you. I had to contact you. And then at some point, you may utilize your Hail Mary pass. And you may ask for that, hey, it would feel so good to meet up. And you do that just once. But before you do all that stuff, it's really important that you take about 3 months of not necessarily no contact. I don't really believe in no contact, but I also don't believe in like pestering the guy and reaching out to him after he's very firmly said, I don't want to be with you. Or even if you said, I don't want to be with you. You broke up with him. You have to have some time apart to miss each other and kind of work things out in your head and figure out what you need and what you want. But it is so important for a man to miss you. Now here's the big red flag in this whole situation. And for those of you who follow me, you know what's coming. This is a long distance relationship. How do I feel about long distance relationships? Well, let me tell you. They're the biggest way to cheat yourself out of years or months of your life. Long distance relationships deprive you of the daily ongoing connection, regularly seeing someone, having problems, having difficulties, having beautiful moments, having meals together, going to see movies, hanging out with friends. Long distance relationship is the surest, fastest way to keep your heart safe, yet not make any progress. Sometime after college, I had a long distance boyfriend, and I actually wanted to, after college, move to be with him. And he said to me, I hope you're not moving here just for me. Yes, my long distance boyfriend said this to me. And to be very brave, I said, well, of course not. I'm moving because I love the area. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't really find a job in that area, and the whole idea of moving there kind of fizzled out because I got a great job in my hometown. But my girlfriends and I were going out, and they were like, why are you in this long distance relationship? Let's go meet guys. Let's go meet some cute guys and hang out. And I would be out with them and just miserable and sad the whole time. I couldn't wait to get home and send my guy an email or a phone call. Back then we didn't have texting. But you see, I was just miserable. And Thanksgiving would roll along and he hadn't made plans with me. And I'm like, well, am I going to see you? Are you going to come see me? And it was just always so vague. And you never really knew. And then there were days where we talked to each other every day on the phone. So long distance relationships, the biggest flag you've got going on here, in that you deserve so much more. Now, if you want to practice with this man, you already have him unblocked on IG, go ahead and just let it play out. But I do hope that you begin quantum dating and exploring other options. Now, this is the hidden gem in the ABCs to Getting Back program, is that I share with you how to quantum date. I give you basically everything that is in FEM tools for dating. It's also included in ABCs, in that you have to get back out there. Even though you're miserable and you're sad and you miss this person and no one's going to smell like him or look like him or act like him, all of that's going to be very true and real. But these men will teach you something that you need to learn in order to either reattract that man, realign that man back with your life, or call forth the man you're meant to be with. So that's what the 3 months are in between before you use a Hail Mary pass. So my answer to you, continue to communicate with him on IG if he chooses to. It really doesn't matter about Facebook, but I really want you to quantum date and get back out there and enjoy your rich, beautiful life. You can't have a long distance relationship and be happy for too long. Now, here is how you correct a long distance relationship. One of you has to move closer to the other one. And when I mention this to my clients and say, one of you has to move closer to the other one, they freak out because it gets real. And they'll go, well, I don't know. That's leaning forward, Adrienne, isn't it? Well, it's you with your life deciding what you want to do or not do. And here's how the conversation goes. The past X number of weeks or months has felt wonderful dating you. I'm really curious where the two of us can possibly go. So I'm going to be moving closer. And if your guy flips out or freaks out or gets weird on you, or the day before you're supposed to move, he doesn't talk to you anymore, he won't answer your calls. I had that happen with a client recently. This is what it's going to take. One of you has to move closer to the other one. Do not move in together. Just move closer and give it about 3 months of dating regularly. In this day and age with Airbnbs and people working remotely, you can figure out a way to do this. And if you can't, you have to understand how important proximity is to building and creating a loving, long-lasting relationship. Proximity and attraction are almost the same amount of value. You cannot create a loving, long-lasting relationship with someone who is 400 miles away. The two don't go together. You have to be around one another. So I didn't want this podcast episode to become about long-distance relationships, but it's really important. I have a lot of people message me about long-distance relationships in social media. The other thing I want to recommend is keep your life rich, full, and juicy. I do think it's pretty scary to a guy when we stop posting anything, and it kind of freaks them out a little bit. But at some point, you want to have posts that show that you're living your life and you're moving on, but not too fast and not too much. I talk about the artist, the man that love bombed me and just swept me off my feet and then just dumped me after my life had really imploded. I had just so many things happening. And the day he broke up with me, I remember that night on social media, he said, hey, I'm going to be out at this bar playing music, and anybody who wants to come, go ahead and come. I don't need to invite you personally, but if I'm talking to you, come on out. And I was like, is that a message for me? Like, he just broke up with me, but he's being so vague about it. And little did I know this is something that narcissists kind of do, which is they just go on so extravagantly with their life that it leaves the victim in this sort of tangled place. And again, I'm not here to diagnose anybody, but I want you to move on, but not in some weird narcissistic, I gotta prove to this guy how great I'm doing way. I want you to move on and make it authentic and understand that even if you have blocked him, which I hope you don't, hope you keep lines open, he will see that, and he will see that you are continuing to love and enjoy your life. Now, I'm going to cover my biggest, most important tip after we listen to this next caller, and that is something called making a memory post. So I hope this has been helpful to you all, especially those of you who are in long-distance relationships. and understanding that blocking someone really prevents you from connecting with them. All right, on to the next question. You are invited to join my online coaching community, iHeart Love Academy. On my private app, you can attend a monthly class and receive coaching with me. You can also explore guest coaches and speakers, post your questions and receive help from my coaching community, or offer advice to a fellow Diamond Girl. You also have access to our growing library list of classes and workshops, plus group member chat. There's so much fun in this group, and I especially love the supportive community. You can join iHeart Love Academy and receive 3 days free and enjoy as many classes as you like. Then join on a monthly basis. You can cancel at any time. To join us, head on over to diamondgirl.me/group. That's diamondgirl, DIAMONDGIRL.me/group. I can't wait to see you in the group at iHeart Love Academy.
Hey Adrienne, so I was dating a man for a few months, and this week he came to me and told me that he's ending things with me. He told me it was kind of a classic "it's not you, it's me" scenario, but I do believe him in this case. And he asked to take space to basically decide if he wants to continue with this or not, based off of what he's going through. On our breakup call, I did tell him that I might unfollow him and have him unfollow me on Instagram, because I just don't want to see the constant updates and be reminded of him. However, since I've had some time to ponder this and I do want him to come back around and make things work, I realize that Instagram could potentially be a tool to help attract him back. But I want to know if, since I already told him that I probably would unfollow him and have him unfollow me, does it look desperate and like I'm trying to get him back if I do keep him as a follower on Instagram? What are your thoughts?
Haha, I love this question so much. And not because there's a little ruthless part of me that really, really wants him to notice that you haven't unfollowed him and then come to you with a message and say, "Hey, what's up? I thought you were going to unfollow me and you're still following me." I don't really think that's going to happen, nor do I think it's going to look desperate. If anything, I think he will be a little happy that you're still following him. And if anything, I would love for you to take on the energy of, wow, I'm just so busy with my life. I'm just so busy and having fun and just picking up my pieces and one step in front of the other. I'm so busy, I haven't even thought of that. Now, here's the important part. I am so sorry this man has broken your heart. I can hear it in your voice. I can hear the sadness, and I can tell that some love was unfolding there for both of you. Now, there's a good chance he will come back around, and I do believe, as you said, keeping those lines of communication open help. I remember early on when Jeff and I parted ways, I asked my mom, I said, "Mom, should I block him and delete him?" And she said, no. And I said, "Mom, how can you be so sure? No." And she said to me, "You keep the option open for him to see what you're doing and reach out to you if he needs to." And I said, "Well, he has my email." And she said, "Well, what's he going to think of seeing a beautiful picture of you posted on your profile?" And I was like, oh, I get it. So I've really incorporated my mom's advice into this, into the ABCs and into a lot of my reconnection, because it's true. They have to be able to kind of see you or have some sort of access to you to remember. Now that brings me to my next part, which is something called a memory post. A memory post is nothing to be overused, but it's just one of the many things I share with you in the ABCs to Get Him Back program, which again is more about rebuilding you and getting your life back to this healthy, stable place. I talk about processing grief, about quantum dating when you don't want to, about how to handle, if friends or people want to ask you about this person, which I went through an unnecessary amount of that. Just people wanting to know my business when in fact it was like none of their business. Hi, this is Adrienne Everheart, and I'm curious. Are you ready to attract a loving partner and create your very own happily ever after? Maybe you've seen my growing list of testimonials on my Instagram page, or somehow you've been drawn to my work with feminine energy. I've helped a lot of women find true love, get engaged, married, and some even remarried. I want to help do the same wonderful thing in your life. I want to share Femme Tools for Dating. It's a program on my website and it's waiting for you. You see, dating can feel really difficult, and I teach you how to go from feeling invisible and intimidated online to creating connection with men and calling forth quality men into your life. Step by step, I guide you from the very first hello to happily ever after. I teach you so many feminine energy tools along the way and so much more. Now, if you want a coach that gets results and has methods that have helped women all over the world, Femme Tools is available when you need it. So head on over to my website, that's Everheart Coaching, EVERHEART Coaching, and look for Femme. That stands for Feminine Energy Mindset Method. Trust me, ladies, this very affordable program does not disappoint. There's just so much to process when you go through a breakup. Again, and social media has complicated this. But a memory post is a great way for a man to, if he's watching you, to know that you still think fondly of him and valued your time with him. Now, a memory post works like this. Let's say you and your significant other had gone to a particular park together, and you had gone several times. And on this particular weekend, you decided to go and visit this park again. You take a beautiful picture of the park, or you take a selfie, or maybe have someone take the photo of you, then he doesn't know who took the photo. Things like this, just little pieces of mystery. Not that I want you to create that mystery on purpose, but I think sometimes we're so concerned about that person seeing the post, that we forget that mystery is a natural element of it. And it doesn't hurt anything to be a little mysterious and a little vague about who you're with or why you're there or what you're doing. Just don't forget that you're not doing this to make that person do something. You're not going to be upset if they don't do something. You're doing it because it is your right to express yourself, put a post out there, let someone know, let the whole world know. I went to this beautiful park and I have such wonderful memories here. It feels so good to reconnect to this place. So he will know that those great memories are the memories you shared with him. Now, on the other side of a memory post is protecting you. And this is about if you can make it in your feed so that you don't see your guy, you don't see updates from him, and you can avoid being curious and looking at his social media. This will help you so much. I really want you to just make a decision that you are not going to check up on him. You're not going to go look at his page, read comments, anything like this. Because if you do, I can guarantee you that you will feel horrible doing it. I, a couple of times, checked up on Jeff and my hands were just shaking. My heart was pounding and I felt terrible. And part of reconnecting is I want you to feel good. Feeling good, feeling confident, feeling energized, reclaiming your stability away from this relationship is so important to rebuild if that's what you want, or just attract the right type of quality man that you're really seeking. So if you can, hide his account from your eyes. Make it so you see less of his post or you don't see his post at all. I highly encourage that. But also understand he is maybe going to do the same thing. But again, I believe he will check up on you, which is why you really want to share a memory post.
Hi
everyone, this is Adrienne Everheart. If you're enjoying my podcast and also enjoy my YouTube channel, I suggest you go a little bit deeper into one of my self-study programs. I recommend everyone start with my ebook, 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. It also comes with a 2-day video class. This ebook has transformed the lives of so many women because I help you get aligned with your natural feminine energy and learn to speak and phrase your words in a way that really connects to a man's heart instead of challenging him with masculine energy. I can teach you so much more in my self-study programs. I have something for every topic that you may be interested in. And of course, New Man Manifesto, which is a 12-week manifesting course. It comes with homework and lots of extras. So head on over to my website, everheartcoaching.com, to learn more. Kind of a bittersweet story. Shortly after Jeff and I had broken up, really, which was the second time, he had broken up with me when his mom was going through some serious health stuff and eventually died. And we got back together when he moved back to our town. And then sometime shortly after that, he just decided to break up with me again. And I was with a great group of people who were really into baseball. And Jeff and I used to always go to a particular stadium in Washington, D.C. And so me and all my friends, we made a trip to this stadium, and I posted lots of photos, and he did not comment on a single photo. He never reached out to me about it. But later, when we rekindled our relationship, he had told me that he was so sad. He was happy I was there, but he was like, that's our place. You know, you're at our place without me. And let me tell you, it was holding back tears all day long when I was there. So be careful about how big of a commitment you make to making that memory post, but also be authentic, because one of the things I said in my post was, I have had so many wonderful memories here, and it's so great to be back. So I think there's like a beautiful element to it, but also like a really bittersweet thing with memory posts. Do not overuse them. Use only one, maybe every 6 weeks or so. And again, memory posts are not to get this person to do something, but they're really just, they're a type of Hail Mary, and they're also a type of I'm living my rich, full, juicy life. Now, here's the interesting part that I want to circle back around to with both of these ladies who have left me these messages, is that there's a good chance someone's going to try and rebuild with you, and you have to know what to do in a way that will not create you as a friend, and you'll just be this guy's friend and not really know where that's going. You also don't want to fall right back into bed with this person and have an instant relationship, because if you rebuild again, if he's going to hurt you and walk out the door on you and crush your heart, rebuilding is something new. So if a man walks away from you, that relationship is over, and say thank you for ending this relationship. It needed to end. It is over. There was something wrong with it, and it was broken. If you rebuild, this is your opportunity to rebuild that relationship, and do so with the mindset that the things that weren't working then, I'm going to work on now. Again, I go back to this 3 months in the ABCs, and that's where a lot of that happens. Rebuilding is a complicated thing. It usually starts off with a message and a hello. The girl usually wants to talk about the relationship, apologize for something in the relationship, or begin relationship talks. And I highly suggest you do not. I want that first little bit of conversation to be like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? And you just talk about your life. Do not share who you're dating. Do not talk about how many dates you've been on, or don't even mention it. Don't say, hey, are you dating someone? If he asks, I have a script for that. And it's where you say, oh, I'm flattered that you want to know, but I'm really curious. Like, why do you want to know? And at some point, Jeff had asked me this. And he said, well, I guess that we should know about, who we're dating and how we're moving on in our lives with each other. And I quickly corrected him, and I said, I don't think so. I really don't have any interest in sharing that or hearing about that with you. My heart still beats very hard for you. And while I am moving on with my life, I have always been your friend, but I don't want to be just your friend. So that right there is a very complicated maneuver, because you have the man you love, the man you want to be with. He's moving towards you, and boom, out of the gate, you have to put down a boundary. And you have to do it with warmth. And you also have to be respectful of the love you still feel for this person. You see, it's a very complicated thing, rebuilding with a man. Now, I'll give you another quick scenario. And after that, it's up to you to check out the ABCs to Get Him Back program. And if you already have that one and you want to go deeper into quantum dating, look into FEM Tools for Dating. So here's another really complicated scenario. And that is, you guys are talking more and you're speaking more, you're chatting more on the messenger, and you're looking forward to it. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, he goes 2 weeks and he doesn't message you at all. Do nothing. Do nothing. He's got to miss you. He has got to break whatever is holding him back and work through that block and come back to you. And when he does, oh, hi, it's so great to hear from you. You meet him with warmth. This might even be the case. You might even be going out a couple of times, like meeting for lunch, meeting for maybe for dinner. These look like dates and they sound like dates, and they probably are dates, but in his world, he's like, I just want to meet you as a friend. And you're like, oh, great. Well, I've really missed you. It would feel wonderful to see you. You're not agreeing to be anybody's friend, and you don't need to talk about it, but just go out and just see what happens. It's kind of like you go back to date number one. So on date number one with a guy, you're not like, I want to be very clear, I'm not your friend, and I'm here dating you. This is a date. You don't really say that, do you? It's the same when you're rebuilding with your guy. You go back to date number one, where it's just like, hi, I'm just checking you out. You're checking me out. We're talking to each other. We're connecting. We're seeing what each other's been doing the past couple of weeks, and that's all it is. So after you have a few of those, it's very important you have a conversation of, the past few times we've gone out together, it's felt wonderful. I'm curious where you see us going, or I'm curious where you see this going. So again, these are complicated situations that you can really, I don't want to say you can blow it with a guy, but you can overcomplicate it quickly and put too much pressure on him and too much pressure on yourself and be so outcome oriented. But yet at the same time, you don't want to be a doormat. You don't want to fall into this friend zone. It's a really complicated place to be rebuilding with a man, even if you're married and he has a trial separation and he starts coming back around. It's a date. You don't just cozy up in bed with me the next night. That's not how it works. We're back into getting to know each other and taking this slowly and reestablishing our connection. All right, everyone. I hope this episode of social media, rebuilding, blocking, unblocking, following, liking, not liking, and definitely for sure knowing your guy is spying on your social media page. I hope it's been really helpful for all of you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.